You think he's underestimating your skills and your ability to switch stances?
No, not at all. You know, like he didn't fought southpaws, he didn't fought orthodox fighters, so you know he's been in the ring with a lot of fighters, and in his mind, he don't see nothing new that I can bring to the table.
The ridiculous promotion of Canelo Crawford has given me lots of good ammunition.
Get some, baby!
Woo, first, let's take it back to last week when this photo was taken of Canelo and Crawford having dinner together. Like they're best friends.
I love you, man.
They're buddies, like they were family friends.
Canelo Alvarez has caught the attention of Terence Crawford. Didn't hold back his respect for Canelo's slick stance switches. But with that praise came a warning. If their paths ever cross, Crawford promises Canelo will be staring down. An opponent like nothing he's ever dealt with. He admitted he's not sure if Canelo truly evolved since that humbling night against Floyd Mayweather. Yes, styles make fights, he said, and fighters rise or fall depending on who's in front of them. But Crawford believes Canelo's grown sharper, more complete since then. And with a sly grin he closed with, "We'll see."
Do you think he changed a lot since the Mayweather fight, or is he the same fighter?
I don't know. I just think, you know, sometimes some fighters, you know, they fight to their level of competition, and you know, I think he's definitely more experienced, with more well-rounded, given the experience that he had in a Floyd Mayweather fight. So we shall see.
Oscar De La Hoya, on the other hand, wasn't impressed. To him, the buzz around a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown felt far too friendly. Missing that raw edge fans crave, he pointed to a recent photo, just the two of them casually sharing dinner's proof that the hype was falling flat. In De La Hoya's eyes, great fights are born from real tension, not carefully staged moments of camaraderie. He warned that without that electric sense of rivalry, the magic could slip away, leaving boxing fans less eager for the moment that should feel unforgettable.
Can you imagine Muhammad Ali or like Joe Frazier having dinner together? What? Can you imagine Mike Tyson and Mitch Green before a brawl? What the fuck? No boxing fan wants to see two fighters having dinner together.
We could have a dinner on Wednesday night.
We want bad blood. We want anticipation. We want to feel like an actual war is about to happen. Not fucking caviar and champagne together while they're staging their trilogy. Jesus Christ.
Oscar De La Hoya kept pushing back on the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford promotion, brushing it off as rushed and lacking any real bite. He couldn't help but chuckle at the absence of true tension, dismissing their trash talk and stage antics as nothing more than theater. Taking it a step further, De La Hoya challenged Canelo to stop dodging and finally face David Benavidez, especially after Canelo hinted at a move to WWE. And to Crawford, he offered a sly suggestion: if you really want to rattle Canelo, just mention that failed drug test and the infamous tainted meat excuse. That, he said, would strike a nerve.
Their dinner date together, Canelo and Crawford said on the press tour that I think started in Riyadh, New York, and Vegas. So here's a clip of their shit talking.
I'm very excited for this fight. We'll see. We'll see.
That's late, right? Oh, and Canelo elaborated on his career plans.
Maybe you will see me in the WWE.
Okay, great, Canelo, but please first, before you fight The Undertaker, can you please fight David Benavidez? No. And here's the moment where the script told them to shove each other. I mean, come on. Anybody else not buying this drama?
Ain't nobody got time for
and
that.
Crawford, if you want to actually make Canelo mad, just tell the truth about him and his tainted meat.
And Canelo failed 2 drug tests.
And when asked what time the fight will take place,
I don't know.
My good friend Turkey on the Sheik gave an answer that left everybody puzzled.
What are we looking at here?
I mean, I'm sorry, Turkey, but what did you...
Terence Crawford, however, sees it differently. He pushed back on the notion that Canelo Alvarez is underestimating him, especially when it comes to how quickly Crawford can adapt in the ring. He acknowledged that Canelo's seen it all, from southpaws to orthodox fighters, and has sparred with a wide range of styles. But even with all that experience, Crawford gave a quiet warning. If Canelo thinks there's nothing new coming his way, he's in for a shock when they finally stand. Across from each other,
Underestimating your skills and your ability to switch stances?
No, not at all. You know, like he didn't fought southpaws, he didn't fought orthodox fighters, so you know he's been in the ring with a lot of fighters, and in his mind, he don't see nothing new that I can bring to the table.
Furthermore, Oscar De La Hoya didn't hold back when addressing the chaos around the event's timing. He took aim at the vague and shifting statements from Saudi officials, pointed out the pressure building on Dana White to choose between the UFC and the boxing spectacle. De La Hoya blasted White for dodging real questions and resorting to cheap insults, calling him a Neanderthal. Went on to call out the irony in White's refusal to engage with him, or Bob Arum, while openly backing promoters like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, making the whole situation, in his eyes, nothing short of ridiculous.
Whether to be present at the UFC Noche in Texas or the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And when confronted about his plans, Dana White simply chose to be the Neanderthal that he is, dodging the question and calling me a douchebag. I mean, it's ironic coming from the guy who's a walking billboard for affliction. I mean, we can all agree, if you look up the word douchebag, in the dictionary, Dana White's photo pops up. Dana went on to say he enjoys working with Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, but won't work with lunatics like De La Hoya and Bob Arum.
Oscar De La Hoya came out swinging at Dana White, calling him a joke, and making it clear that neither he nor Bob Arum has any intention of working with him, hinting that Al Heyman likely feels the same. He threw down the gauntlet, pointing to his stable of top-tier fighters ready for blockbuster matchups, while mocking White's thinning UFC star power and telling him to pull himself together. De La Hoya didn't stop there. He took shots at White's appearance and attitude, brought up the UFC's money troubles, and wrapped it all up with a bold, defiant message aimed straight at both Dana and Canelo.
So in other words, Bob and I know he's a joke and won't work with him. And I can only assume that Al Heyman feels the same way.
I hate him.
Oh, and Dana, you can call me anytime, brother. Because I have lots of great fighters to make great fights with. Oh, but shit, wait. You don't have any fighters.
What?
And for God's sake, dude. Man, get a big shirt. Tight. Maybe some slacks. Get on blood pressure meds or something. Whatever you need to look and behave like a fucking human being.
Well, I can't.
Oh, and you haven't built a star in the UFC in 5 years. Maybe do your job and stop jumping shit. Because the UFC is in billions in debt.
I'm rich, God!
Dana, Canelo, you.
On the flip side, legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer shared his take on a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford clash. He envisioned a thrilling, razor-close battle, one built on precision and skill, not just brute strength. When the topic turned to UFC president Dana White, possibly promoting the event, Buffer didn't hesitate to praise him, calling White one of the greatest promoters in sports history. He even noted that White, a seasoned boxer himself, knows the fight game inside and out. And despite the heat from critics like Oscar De La Hoya, Buffer stood firm. Dana White has his full support.
It's not a big fight unless you're announcing it. Canelo versus Crawford. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a close and interesting fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be a technical fight, not a power fight.
Now, what do you think about Dana White promoting it? Do you think
he's only proven himself to be one of the greatest promoters in the history of sports?
So he's good?
Pretty good deal.
He's good for boxing.
Oh yeah, he'll know what to do.
Because some people like De La Hoya have been a little critical of him, but he has the Michael Buffer's approval, obviously. For sure. You're the man. Thank you.
Furthermore, Dan Rafael raised an important question about Canelo Alvarez's lackluster showing against Skulls. Was it really just a bad stylistic clash? Or, as Rafael believes, is it the wear and tear from a lifetime in the ring? He pointed out that Canelo turned pro at such a young age, and over the years, the grind has taken a toll on his body, according to Rafael. It's not just about how many fights Canelo's had, it's the sheer number of rounds he's logged, each one adding to the slow, steady erosion that every seasoned fighter eventually feels.
Can't get over how bad he was against Skull. Just Like, I'm not convinced that it was just a bad style. I think that he's just to the point after, all these years of being a professional since he's like, 15, 16 years old, that takes a toll, man. It's all the sparring, it's all the fights, it's the wear and tear on your body. And I have made this point before. To me, it's not so much about the number of fights, it's how many rounds do you have. Here's the harsh reality. Canelo Alvarez has literally like double the number of pro rounds that Terence Crawford does, even though Canelo is younger than Terence.
He pointed out that Canelo has fought nearly 500 professional rounds, more than double the average of around 245. Terence Crawford has picked up on the difference, noticing signs that reflect the immense toll Canelo's non-stop schedule has taken. It's not just the quantity, but the quality. Canelo has gone toe-to with elite, world-class opponents time and time again. Even his toughest recent challengers, like William Scholes and John Ryder, are no pushovers. Well, all of that adds up, making the wear on Canelo's body a critical factor when assessing how this potential showdown might unfold.
Well, he's like 500 something rounds as a professional now, Canelo. Crawford hasn't even hit 300 rounds as a professional. That's a big difference.
That's another factor then we can look into this fight. There's so many factors to it, like you say, Dan. Now, you did touch on it.
It's 520 rounds for Canelo Alvarez as a professional. And it's 245 rounds as a professional for Terence Crawford. Yeah. That's a dramatic difference. Think about the wear and tear you might take in an extra 200 plus rounds. And it's not like Canelo's fighting guys who can't fight. He's fighting top level, world championship level fighters, one after the other after the other. If you looked at a guy like William Skull or John Ryder or somebody like that and say that was like his so-called worst opponent over the last several years, that's still pretty solid. Those are still real guys.
Chelvis Ted pointed out an interesting pattern in Terence Bud Crawford's style. He often stands in the fire, trading punches mid-fight, and when he gets caught, it's usually by a straight right. Since Crawford isn't a natural southpaw, opponents tend to zero in on that opening, lining up their rights with confidence. Still, Crawford's grit, speed, and footwork help him slip or shake off much of the damage. He takes punches the way Sugar Ray Leonard once did, offering a tempting target only to pull back in a flash and answer with sharp counters. Paints Crawford not just as a slick technician, but a battle-hardened, instinctive warrior.
Doing some homework on Terence Bud Crawford. I was going to put together video clip of how Terence Bud Crawford loves to trade. So while I was trying to put that together, I noticed that when he is getting hit in the exchange, it's usually by a straight right. So much so that I've noticed that his ops plan to land the straight right. These fighters literally study Crawford and plan on throwing a straight right because he's a southpaw and he's not a natural southpaw. So they actually plan for it. It's just that Terence Crawford is so damn durable and good and athletic that even when they're landing it, he's okay. And a lot of times he kind of make them miss, or he'll give them his face like Sugar Ray Leonard, love him to death, and he'll step back and go bang because his feet are so good. That's why I said he's a fighter. Crawford is more of a fighter than a...
Terence Crawford, in the eyes of Bill Haney, is a fearless, battle-hardened warrior, one who won't flinch in the face of a bigger opponent. Haney waved off any talk of Crawford being at a disadvantage, calling such claims outdated and misguided. With unwavering confidence, he declared Crawford the best boxer in the world and boldly predicted a brutal, definitive loss for Canelo in their potential clash. Meanwhile, George Groves offered praise for both men, recognizing their greatness. He highlighted Canelo's rise and dominance at middleweight and admitted that had he seen Canelo's rise coming, he might have stayed in the game just for that fight. Groves deeply respects their skill, noting that even as seasoned veterans, they still compete at the very top.
Brilliant fight, an exciting fight. I love both fighters. I think they're both amazing fighters. Crawford, amazing fighter. Canelo, he's come up to middleweight and absolutely dominated. If I'd known he was coming up, I might have hung out a little bit longer, right? I'd love to have tested myself against him. Like always, he's beaten everyone, so you think, well, maybe I think I had an idea, I got a plan. But yeah, nothing but respect for both those two guys. I'm looking forward to the...
However, Groves made it clear that the size gap between the two fighters could be a game changer, one that leans heavily in Canelo's favor. He acknowledged the uphill climb Crawford would face, describing it as a serious challenge, especially against Canelo's strength and natural size at super middleweight. While Groves admitted that in boxing, anything can happen, he remained realistic. In his view, Crawford's skill is undeniable, but overcoming Canelo's physical edge might just be too much to ask in a matchup of this magnitude.
It's a fight that's thrown together. They're the wrong weights. You know, there's such a big size difference at play. They're both, you know, veterans, if you will, but they're both in really good form. They're both still performing at the, you know, a real high level. None of them have shot, finished, or sliding. So I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I won't give a prediction as such, just in case I get asked to cover the fight. But what I will say is that it's gonna be a tough one for the smaller man. I think size is definitely a big part to play in this. Things can happen, but yeah, you know, it's a tall order, isn't it, for Crawford to beat Canelo?
Manny Pacquiao urged caution regarding Terence Crawford's leap up in weight to face Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. Aware of Canelo's clear size advantage, Pacquiao highlighted the tough road ahead, managing body changes, maintaining speed, and adjusting power to stay competitive at a heavier weight. To him, it's not just about technique. It's about confronting the physical toll that comes with fighting bigger men. Drawing from his own journey, Pacquiao advised that smaller fighters like Crawford must focus on more than just speed. Stressed the value of precision, strategy, tailored training, reminding us that true success at this level comes from smart, focused preparation, not just raw physical gifts.
Preparing like that opponents is not only the speed, but you know, the techniques that you can use in the fight. Like, make sure that in your daily routine, training routine, like that, make sure that all the techniques, strategy, combination, like, you know, it's accurate to your opponent.
Teddy Atlas weighed in on a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, tipping his hat to Canelo's impressive accomplishments, but making it clear where his loyalty lies. He's long believed in Crawford's greatness, and that belief hasn't wavered, even in the face of Canelo's high-profile victories. In fact, Atlas admitted he's been underwhelmed by some of Canelo's recent performances. For him, it's Crawford's superior skill set and brilliant ring IQ that tipped the scales. In Atlas's eyes, Crawford holds the edge not just in talent, but in the smarts that win the biggest fights.
Thinking Crawford, he'll handle it all. That's it. I am. I'm not in any way trying to shortcome the tremendous fighter named Canelo. I like Canelo a lot, but I like Crawford more. I like Crawford, and I liked him before Canelo didn't look great in his last fight against Skull. I liked him when the fight was first made 2 years ago, or talked about 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago.